Pony! Live from my living room.
Live from virtual
Fabulous.
zone.
It's Saturday afternoon. So, welcome. It is 6 o'clock and it is time for the Keeping Friendship Magic podcast.
That's Saturday night in some, however you feel about time.
Okay.
I go to bed early. I'm
yeah.
a sleepy peepee, so 6 p.m. is pretty night to me.
All right. So,
it's sometime at some point.
You'll notice on the screen there's a few of us crowded together. I want to introduce everybody here. First of all, my name is Forward Progress. I am the founder of the Keeping Friendship Magic project. It's a project where we strive to combine social science concepts and the values of friendship to bring us all closer together in our fandom communities. I am joined as always by my partner in love and in life, Miss Nova Rose.
Hi.
Not good enough for crime?
Oh, she's...
Be gay, do crime.
Okay.
I guess it's assumed.
The Keeping Friendship Magic podcast does not endorse crime, but it does endorse being gay. No. Next we have, you may have seen him on a few panels today, Mr. Kermit the Grog.
Greetings, hello. I'm here to react off the cuff and say funny stuff, haha.
And on our supersized panel, we have two remote special guests today. First, joining us once again is Mr. Thoth Penswell of Riff Ponies.
Hi, I'm the less talented half of Riff Ponies.
You say that,
And,
but we don't believe you.
My input for the moment is Starlight Glimmer's best pony, and my dinner is ready.
Okay.
I'm a happy boy right now.
My body is ready.
All right. And last but not least, we are joined by the one, the only. You've seen them at anime conventions. You've seen them at furry conventions. You've seen them at pony conventions. It is Rift Wing Designs.
Hello, everyone. And Brass Knuckles is my name, and I work with ponies. That's my game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So I want to thank all of you for joining us today. Obviously, the podcast topic for today, I feel, was made out of necessity, of course, due to current circumstances. Let's face it, we're running a mini convention out of my living room at the moment and streaming it to the internet. That being said, I want to thank every single person who's been involved in everything today. We're 6 hours in, and we've had a couple technical hiccups, but so far, it's been streaming well.
The motorcycle gangs are coming. Mad Max is starting. I'm a war boy now, guys. There's no escape from it.
Witness me.
We are witness.
Witness me.
All right. Well, before we all ride into Valhalla, shiny and chrome, let's deal with the topics at hand. So, obviously, like I said, conventions are closing, businesses are closing. We just heard a rumor literally 10 minutes ago that the governor of the state may have pulled GameStop's license, business license.
I haven't found
It's
confirmation for that yet, though, admittedly. But that'd be really cool if it happened.
Because they refused to shut down. So obviously this is serious. Italy's death toll has risen, I've heard, above the 200 mark, and I hate to be so negative right now, but we need to tackle these challenges head on if we're going to make it out of this together. So first I'm gonna just ask everybody, how has your last week or two been? It's been obviously a little chaotic, but how has everybody been adapting to the current situation?
I could probably pipe up first. If this input means anything, about 3-4 hours ago, Sorry about that.
I thought we lost you.
Yeah,
you
really
lost me
worried.
there. Sorry, I was getting my food. I was reaching over and getting my food.
Oh, gotcha.
3-4 hours ago, I found out that I was laid off from one of my jobs because of the whole situation. So if that gives you an
air
idea
hugs.
of what... Yeah, thank you. So if that gives you an idea of what the current situation is, as someone who has, primarily two jobs that make me income, which is I work with children in a childcare capacity, and I work at a movie theater. Those are both very person-to-person oriented jobs. Obviously, I cannot do either of those in the current situation that we're in. Can't do it remotely, can't do it social distancing, etc., etc. So that's been frustrating. It's also been scary, obviously. I think everybody is very unsure. I keep telling everyone the last couple of days, this is very much uncharted territory that we're walking into.
Absolutely.
So
Nathan Drake isn't even here. That's how uncharted it is.
And it's definitely, it's been a struggle here. I know Nova Rose here is off work for a minimum of 2 weeks. I've been lucky enough to work from home, though that's been a challenge in and of itself, trying to adjust to that setup. Let's do a check-in with everybody else here.
Or do we want to ask, Riftwing, how you been?
Everybody, I can't complain. I am honestly extremely fortunate that both my husband and I can work from home. We have enough money to get by and things are going well. So what I'm doing at this point is supporting all those local businesses and artists that I can, because there are so many people that are doing so much for the folks like me that are able to get by. So I just want to give a shout out to everybody who's still working. I know it sucks. I know you're seeing people posting about vacations and margaritas and hanging out with their pets, but for those people that are in the public service, that are the waste collectors, that are the food managers working in the grocery stores, the restaurants, you guys are the heroes, all right? So thanks to you guys, because I got nothing to complain about.
Yeah.
Yes,
I can't stress that enough. We have a good friend of ours who works for the local medical center, and just to watch her stress level grow every day, it's difficult to see. We know that what she's dealing with. We know the level of stress she's under, and you want to just give a giant hug and make everything okay, and you can't even hug right now. And
no, these guys are amazing, and we really give our heartfelt appreciation.
Yeah,
they are heroes.
And this is the thing about it, and I think this is the important thing to keep in mind for everybody, is no matter who you are, we are all facing this together right now. This is not a situation that's attacking a specific group of people or anything. Yes, it might attack certain, or I shouldn't say attack, but it might affect certain people maybe a little stronger than others, depending on your current situation, but a virus like this, a medical condition, it doesn't discriminate. It's here, it's global. It's not just America. And I think the most important thing right now is keeping that knowledge in it that we're all suffering, so we all need to be here to support one another at this time. I think one of the biggest things that obviously has frustrated a lot of people is closing of large events. Conventions in particular, as we are all presenters at various conventions. We have good friends who are artists, vendors. I mean, Nova Rose here does art. We haven't vended at a convention yet, but she is taking commissions if you want. Shameless plug for the win.
Shameless plug.
But going into one thing I think a lot of people are having difficulty with right now is the unknown and the uncertainty.
And how long? I feel like that's the biggest one.
And there's not really an answer yet. And it sucks, but it's reality. We don't know, but I also do not have a biology lab in the next room to figure it out.
From what I was reading from the one college study, apparently it could take between 14 to 18 months to get a vaccine out.
That was longer than I've heard. Weeks or months?
Months.
Oh, jeez.
So I think the thing is that at this point, though, is my thought on this, and everybody can kind of chime in on this, is that if you think too far ahead, you're going to kind of drive yourself insane. If you don't think far ahead enough, you're going to hurt yourself. Something's going to happen. And I think the thing is focusing on it one day at a time and keep that step moving as you go and approach each day like, you know what, maybe today's the day it gets better.
Yeah, I can agree with that mindset. I've very much been taking it one day at a time. My big piece of advice to anybody out there who, well, most people are out there stuck in your houses unless you're one of those people who are working at one of those essential businesses, to which I wish you all the safety and health in the world, of course. I would advise anybody who is stuck in their home, get some outside time, some safe social distanced outside time, of course. Do what you like, do what hobbies you like. reserve a certain amount of time a day to looking at the news, because I've been doing that for myself. You don't want to put your anxiety too high. Keep yourself informed, of course, of what's going on, but there are certain points where I need to cut myself off, and I'm like, okay, I've seen enough scary stuff. I know what's going on. I'm up to date. Go back to Flicks or YouTube now, or video edit, or video game. That's easy for us to say when we're all in our houses, but that's the current approach that I've taken as of late.
Yep.
Personally.
And I want to add in a little bit too. So one of the interesting things is this is the first mass issue where everybody is socially connected. And so you're going to see so many people posting online about the amazing things that they're doing with this quarantine time. And guess what? That's the best you'll ever see. There are going to be so many people that are stuck like hiding under blankets with like paralyzing fear and depression, and you're not going to see that online. There are going to be people that can't find a new hobby or a craft or some new achievement, and keep that in mind. You don't have to do anything if you can't do anything. You should try and find things that make you happy. You should definitely go outside and reach out to people, but don't feel like there's a standard. This is something you're going to have to find out on your own.
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
Absolutely.
Now that's one of the
It's like-
that's an interesting comment about going outside and playing with your dogs. Like I swear I'm seeing like way more people walking on the riverfront here just with their dogs, I guess, to get out to just get some kind of activity.
It's important. I feel like kind of fitting the other things, and actually something I was talking to Rose about, it's like this is a hard time to kind of pick up new hobbies. You can't go out and do things. So
Yeah.
I think something that's important to focus on is this is maybe not necessarily a time to thrive. It is a time to survive. And that is
Yeah.
important.
Absolutely.
There is a art and a value and purpose to just getting through it. And should the rest of your life be that? No, but at this point it's just weather the storm. We are in a storm together, and getting through it is value enough to you and others. And it's not going to be pleasant, and this is the time, from a social acceptable distance, we need to band together and weather the storm.
I want to tackle a little bit about the concept of organized gatherings here, because I feel this is a topic that we need to kind of have some discussion on here, because I feel like the script flipped very fast recently, where a lot of us, a lot of people, I should say, were starting to get annoyed of like, my event is being canceled or postponed, and I'm like not happy about it. And it kind of flipped suddenly to, why haven't you canceled yet? Why haven't you postponed yet? And there are legitimate reasons behind this, both ways here, about what goes into planning an event, canceling an event, postponing an event. And I know we talked about this a little bit the other day in preparation. I know for Rift here, for Riftwing, has had a little bit kind of just an inside knowledge. And I figure I wanted to start with you on this topic of just kind of putting your mind on, if you're involved in a convention and the planning, what goes through your head at a time like this?
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. So running a convention, if you have never done it before, it's volunteer work. You are doing it out of your own goodwill. You're hoping that people buy enough tickets and passes to be able to cover the expenses. It's never for profit, at least for the small conventions like BronyCons and things like that. I was the head of attendee relations for Cloudsdale Congress, which was a one-year convention, and we were very lucky that it even got to that first year. We didn't have amazing sales, but we wanted to get some voice actors and things like that. And the issue was, while you could afford, a few guests, the hotels are the big issue. And that's where a lot of this has come in for the current issue. Hotels charge you up front for the amount of space, the time, the catering. Some places require you to buy a certain amount of food or drink or have open bars, things like that. And if a limit is not reached, you have to pay. And if a limit is reached, it's part of the contract. And so a lot of the issues have been with the hotels. The county is the states, the laws, what specific groups are doing. So it may not even be the convention that chooses to cancel, but it may be the hotel, or it may be the state law. I know for BabsCon they were trying for a long time to hold on, but again, then when it came down to it, it was more pressure for social distancing, and the hotel itself saying we're not going to host this anymore. So it can be very stressful for the convention organizers because you want to do well. You want people to be happy. Nobody wants bad things to happen. And it's extremely emotional when you say we have to cancel or we can't have this guest or we're barely making it. Like somebody has to donate their life savings to help this convention. Nobody wants that. Everybody is in it together, but sometimes you see it from the attendee and the inconvenience it's caused to you. But the inconvenience is for everyone, including those that are organizing it. And so we really appreciate a lot of the support that the community has given to those that have canceled. But again, we know it sucks. Like you that bought the plane ticket and had the merch and all of these things that were canceled, nobody came out of this good, even the hotels. So all I can say to that is it's extremely tough, extremely emotional. And what we have to do is focus on the fact that some people are getting refunds. We're doing it to avoid that social distance. And when it comes back and the world is a better place, go back in as soon as you can and support them, whether you have money or if you don't. Volunteer hours and time, it doesn't have to be cash. You can still be a volunteer, and I'm sure they will work with you if you don't have a job and can't do anything else, because we still need those volunteer hours. So I'm going to cut it off there, but just say we care. And we appreciate the fact that it has been tough for so many of you.
Absolutely.
That was brilliantly put.
It's hard because
Seriously.
Oh, sorry, Thoth.
No, it's all good. Coming from my position, and again, I don't have as high of a position there. As Forward Progress put it earlier, we are presenters at conventions. We're performers, more or less. In my particular case, we were going to be at BabsCon in a few weeks. It's funny and not funny at the same time. Earlier last week, I actually bought the plane tickets to go to BabsCon, and when I got it, I was like, oh, it was a pretty good deal. We're going to be able to go there right as the situation was unfolding. And then once it began to get worse and worse, I had friends who we were going with who were like, oh, well, don't cancel it yet. They haven't said anything. Maybe it'll get better. And as it developed, eventually I went through this sort of stages of denial and, oh my God, please don't cancel, to kind of understanding the scale of the situation and going, no, they need to cancel. There was a moment of realization and acceptance where it was like, yeah, it's much safer for everybody involved that this doesn't happen. And again, there is definitely that disappointment and frustration. There's definitely disappointment and frustration for me because conventions are like my extra birthdays. I love interacting with people. I love meeting friends that I don't get to see every other month. I love presenting, of course. I love giving a room of 100 people kazoos because who else gets who else gets to do that? Me and Ace get to do that, and that's unbelievable.
And we have it on video.
Yeah, there's plenty of video now. There's also video of me taking my pants off in front of a convention, but nonetheless, that kind of encompasses why I love those experiences.
Stretch goals.
Yes, exactly. And I mean, when you get that taken away from you, and for what is going to look like a few months, get that taken away from you, a few months worth of that taken away, it, for a lack of a better word, it sucks.
Yep.
I know it.
I
sympathize with all of you out there who are, watching, may watch, listen to this, whatever. I get it. At the same time, there's also the people who have thrown criticism at some conventions' ways, whether it be the dates that they rescheduled, or the fact that they rescheduled, or the fact they canceled, or the fact that they waited so long to cancel. Rift already made a pretty good point of it, but I also want to add on to it in that Charlie, you guys all know Charlie. Winnie City, Ponyville Cider Fest, etc., etc. He made an extremely good thread of Twitter posts the other day explaining why Babs waited so long to make the announcement that they were canceling. It was not, and again, I don't want to sit here and say that I speak for a convention, because I don't. I just come and give kazoos to people. I don't speak for conventions. But the way I understood the Babs situation, in any situation where conventions are still waiting to announce that they're going to postpone or cancel, is if Charlie's posts explain this better, but to put it in the simplest terms that I can put it, and in the shortest, because I don't want to ramble on, if the convention cancels on its own without its hand being forced or without the hotel saying you need to cancel, then they need to pay the costs for that, as far as I understand.
Yep. I've heard stories of this for other things.
And this is the most perfect point about this is a lot of these situations right now are the way they are because if they were to act in another way, that con may never come back. It may not survive. And
Right.
And the people in charge may go into bankruptcy. No kidding.
Exactly.
True.
Yeah.
Depending on how you have your convention set up, I mean, there's a lot of legal just everything that goes into this. You sign contracts, and to further your point, for both of you, there is date and the date specifically. For a convention, usually they have those dates set at minimum a year in advance. So it is a small miracle that any of these conventions have been able to reschedule, because it's not just a matter of picking a new date. You have to get a date that works with your venue. You have to reschedule all of your community guests, all of your VIP guests, to try to make it work for that date. You have to try to offer up options for new hotel booking dates when everybody already had hotels booked for a separate weekend. You have to navigate with getting all of your attendees, and that's just the top. That's just one layer, really. At that point, all that combined, it just when you start piecing it all together, it's like, well, of course things are happening this way. And while we have the right to feel upset and angry, that is human nature. You're going to feel it. But there's a difference between being upset and angry and being hurtful or vindictive or lashing out at somebody. You can be angry and you can vent your frustration in a way that's healthy for you that doesn't attack another person.
I think that's what
And I will add in. So I'll add in that it's a lot of the lack of choice. You did not choose to go or not go. The convention forced it on you. You did not choose for it to be rescheduled. There's no closure. There was no choice. And the fact that all of these attendees are being forced into this, it's not comfortable. And it's natural, and it is tough. But that is because you didn't get to choose.
Yes, exactly. That was kind of what I wanted to get in. That's perfect, of that lack of choice. You can't say it's somebody's fault, because it's nobody's fault. There's a bunch of, cons all of a sudden and fun things we were doing just got freaking I don't feel so good and turned to dust with no build up or that. But there's no Thanos there's no focal point we can be mad at. It's nobody's fault. We're trying to do this to save lives, and it makes it difficult. And I know the part of the reason we put this on was trying to get some amount of closure of the past 2 months. I have been stressed and working on, admittedly, originally 4 different panels, trying to get them ready. And to just have it kind of go up in smoke, you're left with this just sort of this manic energy you've had for months, and you're just like, well, what do I do with this now? It's just I need to do something with it. It can't just float off into the ether. I mean, even if, I could present those panels the next year, and I still intend to do that, it just puts you in the state of I need release. What do I do with this? I need something to put some sort of finality on this situation and not just exist in this weird no man's land middle ground where I don't know what's going on and when, what to do with it myself.
I think it's a real testament and it's easy to not see it this way, and I'm going to sound like an old man here for a moment, and I don't care.
Back in my day.
Hey, you kid, get the heck off my lawn.
Okay, boomer.
Get off my lawn.
But imagine if this had happened even 20 years ago. Oh my gosh. And we didn't have... If this had happened 20 years ago, we wouldn't have this stream. We wouldn't be bringing this out to you. We wouldn't even be able to fathom it. We'd be lucky if we could pick up our brick of a cell phone, if we were lucky enough to have one, just to try to text out by pushing the 7 key 16 times for one letter,
I can't imagine.
just to
hands.
reach
It's like a
out to
baby's
make
toy.
contact with somebody. The fact that we actually have the tools we have right now is perfect to get through this together.
Like, I can't imagine what the
Yeah.
influenza was like back in 1918.
And then there's the thing too. And it's kind of that thing of putting it into perspective. This happened 100 years ago with the flu.
Yep.
And granted, everything was different back then, but still, just try to imagine that right now. If you didn't have the ability, if we couldn't Netflix and chill for the next 2 weeks,
And also, to be a little bit more serious, think about the fact that if you have easy enough communication that you can make sure everybody you know is okay all of the time. Like, imagine a world where it's like there's a bunch of people. It's like they could be sick, they might not be. Your grandparents, other friends, young. Like, you just would have to be in this constant state of not knowing. And I think that's what makes all of this a little bit more stressful, but not as nerve-wracking in that we're not having to worry about that because we can stay in contact, that because we have that ability to know really easily. And that is definitely a solace in a lot of the uncertainty that's going on right now that I know I appreciate.
I think
there is definitely...
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
I was going to say, there is definitely that perspective that I think a lot of people have been coming around to now that we've had about a week and a half, each of us, depending on where you live, of self-isolation and social distancing happening. That even though we can't really go out, can't hang out with friends in person, have seen just a plethora of Discord servers and different friend servers become cauldrons of activity and people playing games and still able to watch movies and YouTube videos together, even despite the fact that we're all trapped in our homes at the moment.
After we're done with this podcast, we're doing Jackbox after this.
Oh,
If there was-
and you guys can
I
join
think
in.
that's
and
the
you guys can
perfect
join in. That's incredible.
Can I just say, it's incredible that we were able to go put on a whole day's worth of panels, and then on top of that, we have a virtual vendor hall also going on. So
I gotta give
a
props,
full-
and again,
Yeah,
we've
shout
mentioned
out.
them a couple times throughout the day, and I need to shout them out again. Check out Full Paper Spreadsheet. You can look him up through his Twitter account. I believe it's simply at Full Papers. You definitely visit the online vendor hall. We've been checking them out and talking with some of the vendors. I know some of these people personally. They're amazing people, amazing artists. And they're even running deals right now for this weekend. So it's a perfect time if you have the funds to hit them up. I know it's a time of economic uncertainty for a lot of us, especially for those who have lost their source of income. And some of these vendors and artists have lost a significant source of their income this year.
Yeah.
And
I mean,
it's
for-
difficult. And it's one of those, I'm not going to say, if you do not have the ability to, that's fine. You're not required to do anything right now. But if you have
you
the
can
position...
still tweet or retweet. Like, you don't have to
Exactly.
pay.
Exactly.
You just-
There are ways to help. This
forward progress. You've said it a lot in the last week or so where we've been prepping for this. And when we've talked, you've said that, there's obvious frustration between us as performers and people who present at conventions, but we just do that for fun. I cannot imagine the difficulty that it must be for some of these people who make a living on vending at these conventions. For them, it's even harder. So that support is probably unbelievable for them, even if you just retweet.
I mean, we've just talked about artists, but if you saw my panel before with pro wrestling, like, I keep up on news on that, and it's painful to see all these people who finally reach the point of being able to make their living on that, and it's like, there's nothing they can do to make money right now. They can't hold shows, they can't do anything, and there's not like there's new work to go get, and it's just like, how long does this take? What happens, what happens next for them? And like, that's important now. Of like, if you're in a financial position that you can help support people that you care about in those spaces, like, do that. Help. If you are in those spots, help people, reach out, donate that money, buy those stuff. Like, now is the time. If you are in that position, I know everybody's financial current situation is not all stable at the moment, but if you are, now's the time.
I think I want to move us a little bit away from the financial, because obviously that's a big piece of it, but it's not just the only thing. And the big thing that's been on my mind this past couple of weeks, past month or so that this has been developing, has been, what do we as fandom communities do in the face of this? And a big piece of that is, let's face it, for the My Little Pony fandom, for the Brony community especially, the Generation 4 ended. We had the series finale towards the end of last year. BronyCon as a convention is no longer. We've kind of had this sense where we've been fighting as a community against that notion of, oh, the fandom is dying. And now the conventions that are left aren't being able to be put on, at least on schedule, and we have a big gap. And somebody might need to check me on this. Was HarmonyCon the last major pony convention to happen, or has there been one since? Was Vancouver after that?
Vancouver was January. HarmonyCon was February. I think. What was the one in the Netherlands? Wasn't there one in Netherlands?
Oh yeah. Hearthswarming Con. Hearthswarming Con. But even that was their final year.
Oh.
So, which is fine. This is one of those things that does happen. But it's not just, and we've talked about this on a previous episode of the podcast, where there's a lot of franchises kind of ending or transitioning. We just had episode 9 of Star Wars. We had the end of Game of Thrones. The end of Pony. All of this is happening. BoJack Horseman just ended, even. So this is a very much a transition time. So just to kind of get everybody's take on, how do you feel we get through this trying time as a community, as fans?
Stay connected any way you can. I mean, like I said, I help head various, I'm active and help head various chats. As I mentioned earlier at opening ceremonies of the convention today, I'm one of the moderators of the BronyCon Discord server, or it's now known as BlepCon, whatever you want.
BlepCon?
BlepCon.
Honestly,
I blame GTX for that rebranding. Also, shout out GTX. So what we've been doing in there is we've been hosting game nights. We're going to start hosting movie nights, which yours truly is going to be hosting.
Leave it to the film guy, huh?
The BabsCon server, Discord server, even though the convention is not going to happen for almost a year now, as you've recently seen, they're still doing events almost every single day in that chat. Nonetheless, I think they're doing an event later tonight even. So
fantastic.
What that should tell you is that, and like we were talking about earlier, with just the unbelievable connectivity we have now, is if you have friends that you only get to see at conventions or you only frequently see them there, that does not mean when a convention gets pushed back or canceled that you can't talk to them or play games with them or watch a movie with them.
Well said.
It's unbelievable how much the internet can do for us now in staying connected. And I think frequenting Twitter, frequenting these Discord chats, join a new group of friends, join a new community, learn about them. I know we were talking earlier that starting new hobbies and activities is really tough in a time like now. But just because, again, we're cut off for the moment, and just because we lose these experiences for a little while longer than we had to wait for, it doesn't mean we can't stay connected.
Absolutely.
So go out and find a community or hang with a community you don't often talk to.
Yep.
Play games with people, stream, go on Twitch, go on every Discord server you can find that you have friends on, and just have fun even just at your laptop.
Yep.
or gaming PC, whatever it may be.
I know, jumping off of what you were saying is, I know, like, especially, like, when you started getting into the panel game, is, like, can I do something, like, can I do this? Can I do something better than this? And from there, just creating stuff yourself, being like, there is an untapped market and I want to basically capitalize on it, essentially. Where, like, so say if a show is ending, it's just like, I've always wanted to make a show. Lord knows we have time to kill now. Like, I know that there's YouTube, there's something like, there's Skillshare, that, like, if you want to learn a skill, do that, and heck, make your own shows.
I think I've been trying to try to throw out some things. I know it was a blessing to talk with Katrina over the last couple of days for her and her boyfriend and their short that they just released, and little things like that as they come out. These are perfect times. I know some major films are being released early on digital. I've heard word that Sonic the Hedgehog is gonna come out on digital soon. Onward is about to come out, and that just came out in theaters.
Bloodshot, which came out a week ago, is being put on video on demand.
Bloodshot, really?
Iron Giant's movie.
Wow. So
They're gonna
point
kill
is,
my
there are
favorite
things
job.
to do, and some of them are just as simple as that. And I unless anybody wants to chime in specifically at the moment, you can stop me. But
if you're changing topics, I have a thing to say.
I am changing topics.
I have a
Go
thing
ahead.
to say too.
Or do you want to do your bit then? And I'll do
I
my
was
bit?
gonna say, all I can say is be creative, just as long as it's not green.
Come on, guys, let's be creative.
Oh goodness.
Oh dear.
But no, I wanted to just say of like the thing of the community of like I want to hopefully do more events like today. Maybe not as specifically produced where we have that thing, but just more like, I mean, we've talked about for a while just doing goofy little friends get together and let's put together like some like short 15-minute presentations about whatever makes us laugh, and being able to do that for those here and for streaming out into the world for people to watch. And I feel like now's the time to do that we can give something back to the community to help other people out in the way they've helped us. That's a thing we can do. So that's what I'd like to do.
So far, I'm feeling pretty confident about it. Today's gone, and we have some plans coming up of things we want to do.
Depending on how long we're stuck.
Especially with, I know Nova Rose and Thoth have already been at my my whim of having to play my improv games and such, but before we change topic, if I'm going to reach out to Riftwing here, see if you had more you wanted to add on the current topic.
Yeah, so really quickly, I just wanted to say, as a, a graybeard in the community, so I've been around for a few decades, and some of you may not have been in other fandoms before. The Brony community may be the first one that you actually felt like you belonged. To think that you can move on, to think that there's something else that'll be this perfect, it's difficult. But let me tell you, as you guys have mentioned, there are other genres. There's movies, there's anime, there's cartoons, there's comics, there's webs. I mean, there's books. There are all these other groups, and you will find another place, but you will never forget where you came from. In the furry community, there are a lot of folks that are there because of the bronies. No kidding. Like, I'm not saying one way or the other, but there are a lot of folks that say that's where I started. Same with anime. Yeah, I was My Little Pony. Don't be afraid of losing who you are when you try something new. Do these things and be proud of where you came from, and find out the other people that also found it. Because let me tell you, there's going to be a whole bunch discovering stuff these next few months. Take that and move forward, and you will find something new. For me, it's about to be serious, every 5 to 10 years that I find something that's really game-changing, right? I mean, She-Ra and the Princesses of Power. There's one season left. Highly recommend it. Very, very cool stuff.
I need to check it out. I haven't had a chance yet.
What was that?
She-Ra.
I watched the
new
first
She-Ra.
season. I love it. Yeah, agreed. Riftwing. That one's super good.
I've the list of things on
So
my
you
plate.
will find good things.
Oh, trust me. No, we've already discussed. I know myself and Nova Rose have been planning some Agretzko content, and we've been talking with Riftwing that if at some point we can hook up and do it together, that is a fantastic, fantastic anime. It
It is happening.
It's so good. And
go ahead, continue.
oh yeah, no, it's I gotta say one thing to piggyback off that is I love one of the things I loved when I first kind of became a brony, got into the fandom, was I loved the amount of crossover art and crossover just everything that was there. I mean, there's Fallout Equestria, for goodness sake.
That'll take a while.
Yeah,
Especially
if you want time to kill, there you go.
Read
And
Fallout
then if you go into
Equestria.
Horizons, then whew,
Oh.
we won't see you for a month.
So we only have I don't even know how many books we have, but even that'll take a while.
Yep.
So point being, but I love that, and I think even some things of a lot of people became bronies when they found out that John Delancey was on the show, and they were Trekkies that came over, or Trekkers, depending. I don't want to offend anybody.
Or vice versa.
right.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
There's so many different things that you don't just have to be one or the other. There's so many great things, and I might revamp an old panel at some point where show there's a lot of common themes you can find amongst all kinds of different genres that link back to the magic of friendship in the end. It really does, and it's great, and it's a great unifying theme. So to switch gears slightly here, one thing I think that is obvious for all of us, we are all stressed out of our minds probably
Definitely.
right now, and I'm going to open this up to the floor first. If anybody has good tips for maybe something that works for you, or suggestions to how do we de-stress in such a time of panic and uncertainty.
I just want to go jump off of the comment. I that's basically what I've been doing too, is rewatching anime. I just went back and rewatched My Hero Academia because I got way behind on that.
Yep.
So that's kind of my de-stressor as of late.
Find your de-stressor. That's definitely what you want to do right now, and it's going to be unique to each person. But if anybody has specifics, I have one in mind, but I want to give it up to the floor first.
Also, drawing is great.
I was gonna say it's gonna sound similar to what I said earlier in the podcast that a few people commented on. Do the thing that you love to do in the time being. That's gonna sound vague, but as Forward Progress just said, we all have so many things that we love to lose ourselves in. Let yourself get lost in it for a time being. Like I said, keep in the know news-wise, but don't do it enough that you get anxious, because again, it's happened to me recently where I'm just like, I need to lose myself in some good things for a minute. So, binge that anime that you've been trying to get to. I mean, I was gonna toss in a minute ago when we were talking about binge-worthy Netflix stuff. Just the other day, I got done just watching the entirety of the Netflix Green Eggs and Ham series, which was
I need
delightful.
to watch it.
Heard some interesting things
Please
about
watch
that.
it. It's delightful. I've described it to people as kind of having the spirit if you took of early SpongeBob, Pony, and Dr. Seuss and put it together. It's really delightful. If you have Netflix, watch it. If there's another way you get your media, wink, wink, nudge, nudge, do it the same way as well.
The Keeping Friendship Magic podcast does not endorse pirating, but
neither does Rift Ponies. But yeah, highly recommend that. I made a post on my social media where I stated that I had a bunch of things that I need to rewatch. I have over 200 movies on my watch list. I have video editing stuff that I can do for conventions in the second half of the year that may actually happen. I can put all my efforts towards that. Right before we all locked down, I got a video game on my PS4 that I'm going to be playing hours upon hours of. I've got 3 monitors in front of me. I think what the important thing to gather from what I'm saying, the bottom line of what I'm saying is do what you love, and that'll help ease the anxiety and tension that's happening right now. And feel free to change it up. Do something each day. Figure out a plan of what you're going to do. Making a schedule is never a bad thing.
Schedules
At least
are
for
great.
me.
That's just a good
For me,
structure.
making a schedule is a good thing,
been
especially if
wanting
it's
to
a
watch
con schedule. Isn't that right, Forward Progress?
I know one thing that I kind of want a little add is a little word of advice is
Go for it.
don't burn yourself out doing one specific thing.
Yes.
Because I did that with drawing, and it's been so hard to pick up drawing for the past like 3 years.
But you did a super cute one yesterday.
And I did.
Where
I'm
is
proud
it?
of myself.
Where is it?
It's next to Wes.
Wes, hand me the notebook. We can keep talking.
Anyway.
I'll put it on screen then.
But yeah, anybody else want to chime
Under
in?
the computer.
Can I quick?
Yeah.
Can I pop
Oh,
in?
I'll go. So,
okay.
a few things. Keep the timer at 2 minutes for me, because I definitely know we're running short on
Yep.
time.
Not that one.
For me, I love gardening, and I am, again, fortunate enough
No,
that I
it's
have a
not that one.
patio that I
It's the
just
black one.
step outside and I can take care of my plants. But if you don't, and you can walk with social distance, appreciate what's out there. It's spring, guys. It's beautiful. There's a lot of things that you may not have noticed. Look at the sky, look at the plants, see what's happening in the world around you. Sometimes that can bring zen. If you want to talk about shows, I really like Star versus the Forces of Evil.
Oh.
She-Ra and the
Coffee.
Princesses of Power. Over the Garden Wall. And yes, My Hero Academia. Those are my top ones for now. I've also caught up on Pokemon, so go figure.
Wow, that's a
That's a lot.
feat.
It's interesting what's happening now in it, actually, after all these years.
It's good to see character growth for sure. Yeah, and
Finally.
as you mentioned, look for hobbies. Try drawing. Look at tutorials online. Try
That's my
things like
first
that.
time ever drawing furry or
So,
anthro,
what was her
anything.
name again?
Star.
Juno.
Juno from Beastars,
I
yeah.
was going to recommend watch Beastars. It's really good.
It's-
We'll talk
yes.
about
That's
it.
that we're not going to go down that
No
rabbit hole
words.
right now.
Not time
That's
for
its
podcasts,
own
but I want to.
podcast.
Yes.
Right.
So,
But it's a good time for the most part.
Mr. the Grog, did you want to chime in?
I wanted to say this because it's something I'd learned in general. I think is good for both this and outside of this. And Forward said something similar to it: is don't take all of this a step at a time. Have some awareness of the future, but don't just spend your time worrying about possible what if futures. There's a difference between awareness and over worrying yourself. I've definitely seen that. It's now is especially a good time. I do a lot of yoga, and I think that's it helps kind of give that peace of mind of practice meditation, practice being in the moment. It's not a skill that you can just snap your fingers and either gain the benefits of, but once you kind of get there, once you kind of get a little further on that road, it's really helpful. I used to be someone who was a lot anxious about a lot of things, and I'd be always worried about this going wrong, that going wrong, what about this thing in the future? Take things a moment at a time. There's a good thing to being planned ahead and being aware, but there's definitely a line of I'm spending all my time worrying about all these what if futures and trying to plan and prep for that. As long as you've got awareness, you're set. Take each day, just go, hey, what's going on today? What's in front of me? What do I have the power? This was even the best important thing was, what do I have the power to change and what do I not? And learning how to accept that and roll with it. There's a lot going on that it feels like it's taking things out of our power, and it is. So now is the time to go, okay, I can't control these things. What can I control to keep myself upright and afloat during these turbulent times?
Well said.
Yeah, one day at a
Also,
time.
To kind of jump off that in the chat, a big thing is do little projects. I know this little thing it was just I've been wanting to tackle our bathroom since we moved in here.
And it's legit. As someone who's visited a bunch in these times, I was amazed. There was a space. I stood in it. It was incredible. Big ups to Road.
just
No joke.
do you have a space you need to clean? Do you have a shelf you need to build? That was the time.
Do
Well-
it up, wizard.
Part of the reason I wanted to go last, and I was waiting to see if somebody else would say the word, is my biggest recommendation was going to be yoga.
Kinda did.
I know that I know you have experience. I do. Rift Wings does
Yeah,
as well.
I'm in teacher training right now.
Yeah,
actually.
Exactly, and we're so proud of you.
So proud of you, Riftwing.
you.
Actually, I got to see not too long ago, maybe a couple years ago at this point, Riftwing do yoga as Peridot at a convention, and it was wonderful.
I want to
So-
see that.
Yeah.
That sounds
How does
amazing.
that work?
Yes.
Oh,
no,
JP
it worked.
CityCon.
Amazing.
I just want to
I
see
didn't
that.
even know you had a Peridot.
we had essentially Steven Universe themed poses that she did, and it was
Oh, I
wonderful.
could believe Steven Universe yoga makes a lot of sense to me, but just Peridot leading it is the
Yoga
last
Dot.
gen-
It was beautiful. Her
Last year I
cosplay was
would've
great.
The best.
It really was.
That is
But
Found all the digits and how to move them, and it's amazing, this human body thing.
yeah. Oh my gosh. No, seriously. If you ever do that again, yes.
I need
I will
to
do
But-
it for you.
For those who do know yoga, knows that actually the first part of yoga has nothing to do with external movement. It has to do a lot with breathing and centering yourself. And that's a huge part of it. And it might sound silly from the outset, but I gotta tell you, it's so helpful, especially in times like this, when you have a house to yourself or you don't have people around, to be able to kind of take it within. You can look up some things online if you don't like the idea of traditional yoga. There's actually anybody remembers for my wrestling man here, DDP, Diamond Dallas Page. He has DDP yoga.
No, I was right the first time.
Yep.
It's a little less yogi, but I mean, we're trying to focus on the meditation aspect of it.
But
now is definitely a good time for
there
it.
is, yeah, but there's so many different things you can do. And if you're worried about physical ability or anything like that, yoga is actually one of those things where you really don't have to worry about it. There's a way to adjust to your body no matter what. My biggest thing, though, that I think is the biggest takeaway I want to give everybody from this event in general is we are going to get through this. We are going to live through this. We're going to survive. When you put it in the realm of things, us being confined to our house and having some uncertainty, it sucks. It's stressful, but this is why we do this as an audio podcast, guys. No,
You're losing a lot of value if you do it continually.
but but
You lose out on this.
this will pass. All things in time will pass. And we will get through this. And the more we reach out, the more we stand by each other, the more that we live through the tenets of friendship, of togetherness, whether it's through online or in person. We can do this together. I believe in every single one of you that is tuned in. I believe in my friends, and I know that we can get through this together.
Believe in the me that believes in you.
You know what? I know I tend to sound sappy towards the end of these things, and there's a reason why people say these things. There's a reason why some cliche phrases become the way they are. A lot of times, it's the power you feel within yourself. You can do this. I do believe in every single one of you. Even though I can't see you right now, I believe... Wait, here. My horse believes in you.
Look at his horse. It is amazing.
My horse is amazing.
Give it a lick.
No,
Don't
we
actually
are
lick
not
it. Don't
giving
lick it.
it
We're
a
not
lick.
licking anything.
Okay,
horse
so
doesn't
that being
believe
said,
in
we're
me.
getting close to time. So I do want to thank everyone for joining us today.
Thank you.
I want to thank everybody for tuning in. This isn't the end of FriendCon. We're going to be doing Jackbox in a few, but I want to give everybody an opportunity to just kind of speak a little on what's on their mind, anything they have going on, etc. So, Mr. Penswell, we'll start with you.
Cool. You talk to the guy. You're asking the guy who rambles the most.
That's why we're putting you first.
Exactly.
Exactly. To put it in the shortest terms possible, Forward Progress just put it better than I could really put it, but I'm going to echo those sentiments nonetheless. We are going to get through this. I know it looks really rough right now because it is, but we're going to get through this. I've been saying to Forward Progress and a bunch of other people, there's a very distant light at the end of the tunnel that's kind of keeping me going at the moment with convention-related stuff or fandom-related stuff. And what that is this whole situation now has made me appreciate the friends I've made, the social interactions that we have day to day, weekend to weekend, and when we can eventually actually go out and do a convention again, even just go out to dinner with our friends again, or just hang out in the same space again. This is just the energy, kind of harness this energy when you're going through your day to day for the next few weeks or months even. Just think about how amazing is going to be and going to feel once we eventually can do that again, and how you'll never take it for granted ever again.
Absolutely.
As I've said, Forward Progress, I'm gonna hug every single person I see at TrodCon the chance I get, because it's gonna feel unbelievable. So
It's going to be one heck of a convention. All the conventions this summer are going to be quite something after we've all been cooped up. Best con season ever, everybody. That's the way I'm trying to look at it.
We'll find out.
Make it unbelievable, and like I said earlier, stay connected, stay connected, stay connected, and subscribe to Rift Ponies on.
And come and talk on.
Smash that notification bell. Just drop kick that subscribe button, giving you feet shots for free. That's what we're about. Giving value. Hit that
all right.
Absolutely uppercut that like button into the stratosphere.
Let Rift talk. Let Rift talk.
Alright, I will also say, if you want to follow me, I am Riftwing Designs, all one word, everywhere. Please do. And I also want to say, don't ask for help. Don't be afraid to ask for help. If you need to apply for unemployment benefits, try it, because everybody's going to have them. Try and ask for unemployment benefits, ask for help, ask for donations. Don't feel like you aren't one of the people that makes a lot of money. If you still need any amount of help, please do. We want to support you. The community is here for you. My number one message to you is you are not alone. We will get through this together, and you are enough. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Kermit.
What are we doing, like plugs?
Plugs? Any last messages you want to leave out to the world?
I can't be found on social media. Hopefully do more fun, entertaining, dumb things if we're going to be stuck inside, like this in future weeks. So keep your eyes posted, I guess, on forward stuff. And thank you for coming out. I mean, without you guys both here in studio and out in virtual land, like, we wouldn't have been able to do this. Like, we're doing it for you guys, but we're also kind of doing it for ourselves. So I just want to say thank you and keep holding on. I can't say any more beautiful than Riftwing Dead of just, we're going to make it through this, and we're going to make it through it together. So stay strong out there. Stay healthy and stay connected.
I guess you can find me at Nova Roselia on Twitter. It's pretty much my only platform. Maybe you'll see us at TrotCon and Techo, depending on whether they happen later in the summer.
I'm positive. You know, this is the thing, is I truly feel that if we put positivity into the atmosphere, there's nothing bad that can come of it. So, you know, I'm going to proceed as if these things are happening. Yeah, the next month or two are probably going to suck, but we're going to survive.
My final words are just keep your mind occupied. Whether it's finding a new skill, honing the skills you already have, doing housework that you normally don't have time for, tell yourself you don't have time for. Just keep busy and survive.
So, I can't even tell you guys, like, I feel so blessed and happy right now. We're about at 7 o'clock, which means that we've successfully done this for 7 hours. And people have tuned in.
Pretty great.
Yeah.
I'm kind of surprised.
Which means the way I've started approaching anything that I do, whether it's convention work, whether it's an online video, a podcast, if we reach one person, I feel happy. So I'm kind of overwhelmed by all that right now. I'm gonna have my sappy moment, and then we'll play Jackbox, and then I won't be sappy anymore. But I love everybody that's going through this. Yes.
How do you do your heart?
You do your heart.
Yeah, okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay, we're good then.
I really do. I love my friends, and I love all of you, regardless of whether or not I've met you. I believe in our communities. I believe in fandom. I believe that we can get through this if we stay together. And if we recognize the challenges that we have, and we hold to the tenets of friendship, we can get through this. I truly believe it. Once again, I want to thank everybody who's been involved today. We're not done yet. We're gonna keep streaming some game stuff from here. But thank you from the bottom of my heart to you, because even just by tuning in, you helped me get through this crisis. So
Same here.
that's sometimes all it takes, is just a kind word, a simple gesture. Sometimes that makes all the difference in the world. So never think that you don't matter or you don't make a difference. Because anybody who even just clicked the button to tune in has made a difference to me.
Thank you.
And that is what I call keeping friendship magic.
Boo!
Oh.
Thanks for watching.
All right, no, but
Thank
seriously, thank you, everybody. We're gonna actually, we're gonna pause the stream for a little bit so we can get set up for Jackbox. We should return in about 15 minutes, around 7:15ish, to get that rolling, and get your phones ready. And we'll see you soon. Thank you, and as always, continue to keep friendship magic out in the world. Thank you all.
Bye, guys.